How do World War II veterans live today? They saw the war firsthand. Today they are 95, 100, sometimes more. There aren't many of them left, and their stories are getting more expensive every year. These are not heroic posters from school textbooks. These are real people, with scars, awards on the bedside table, and with a memory that cannot be erased. There are 7 countries and 7 destinies in this issue. We will walk from distant coastal farms in the USA to a small apartment in a Russian city, from the quiet streets of the French province to an old house in Tokyo. Let's hear who they were in the war and who they are now. Go. This is Friedrich, a German veteran. He was born in 1925. At the age of 18, he found himself on the Eastern Front. He served in the artillery, saw how the fronts were collapsing, and how people were dying on both sides. After the war, he became an engineer and worked at a factory all his life. Friedrich is 100 years old today. He wears a couple of old awards, not for show, but to remember his comrades. In post-war Germany, the status of a veteran is a difficult topic. State aid is aimed at those who are recognized as victims of the war, the disabled and the families of victims, as well as those who served in the post-war formations. Serving in Nazi structures deprived many of the right to claim honors and payments. Government support in Germany is more developed than in a number of other countries, but it is technical and bureaucratic. Pensions, medical care, housing subsidies. Friedrich lives in a small apartment, receives a pension and additional payments as a senior citizen, and goes to a doctor's appointment at a local center for the elderly. He visits memorials, but rarely talks about what happened. For him, war is wounds that have not yet healed. The Germans preserve the memory of the horror of the war and try not to romanticize it. And this is felt in Friedrich's old age. There is respect, but a lot of silence. This is Ivan, a veteran of Russia. Born in 1924, he was sent to Stalingrad in 1942. He fought in street battles, lifted the bodies of his comrades from the rubble, counted the cartridges to the last pack. He saw how a small town became hell and returned home with losses and injuries. After the war, reconstruction work, a family, 2 children. Ivan is now 101 years old. He lives in a 3-room apartment, but the apartment is old, the roof leaks, and the heating is intermittent. Ivan's pension is modest, barely enough for medicines and groceries. Relatives support a lot. In Russia, the attitude towards veterans is solemn in public. May 9th, parades, flowers, photos with the governor. But in everyday life, many veterans live poorly. Pensions are low, social services are overloaded, medical care is available, but its quality is often inferior to Western standards. Many veterans depend on the help of neighbors, volunteers, and social institutions. Ivan says bitterly, "We are remembered once a year, but they help us live once a year." Nevertheless, Ivan comes to a city rally, talks to young people, and conveys one thought. Don't forget what happened. Learn from it. This is Arthur, a British veteran. Born in 1922, he landed in Normandy in 1944 and served in the Royal Marines. He saw how fragile victory is when the battles are high and the loss is great. After the war, Arthur worked at the Portsmouth docks and started a family. Today, Arthur is 103. In Britain, veterans' benefits and services are well organized. There are funds, caregiving, and special disability payments. But money doesn't solve everything. Arthur lives on a pension and benefits. He is paid a carer for several hours a week, and he is a frequent visitor to the local church community. National respect is real. He is invited to ceremonies, and members of the royal family sometimes attend such events. Nevertheless, Arthur admits that his friends are dying one by one, and in old age he feels empty. He carefully preserves a letter from the commander and a small box with a medal, a memory of those who did not return. This is Takeo, a veteran of Japan. He was born in 1923 and was drafted into the Imperial Army in 1944. He fought in the southern Pacific Islands, saw warships and night raids, and survived heavy battles for small islands where conditions were inhumane. After the war, he returned to the ruined city and became a carpenter. Takeo is 102 years old. In Japan, veterans receive modest but stable cash benefits and are eligible for medical benefits. Society as a whole treats the elderly with respect, but conversations about the war are often restrained. The topic is complex and still causes controversy. Takeo often goes to Hiroshima for Memorial Days. He prays for the dead and for those who were forced to fight. His apartment is tidy, he exercises daily and reads a lot. It is important for him that the younger generations know the truth about the war in order to understand the value of peace. This is Giuseppe, an Italian veteran. He was born in 1924 and fought in North Africa and Italy in the difficult conditions of the collapse of the regime and occupation. He went through the bombing, escaped with his family, and helped rebuild destroyed bridges and roads. After the war, he became a teacher. Giuseppe is now 99 years old. In Italy, veterans receive state pensions and a number of benefits, but their level varies. Many live on regular pension payments and family assistance. In Giuseppe's case, he received media attention when he graduated from college in the 2020s at 96 and became an example of an active old age. This is rare, but it shows that some veterans lead surprisingly active lives. During the holidays, Giuseppe tells his grandchildren about the difficulties he had to go through, and often cries when talking about his comrades who did not return. This is Luc, a veteran of France. Born in 1923, he joined the resistance in 1944 and helped carry out sabotage in occupied France. His group was blowing up transport lines and hiding refugees. After the victory, Luc became a blacksmith. Luc is now 102 years old. In France, the care of veterans is manifested in specific institutions. There is a ministry that monitors the affairs of former servicemen and victims. There are payments, free medical insurance, and separate homes for veterans, such as the Invalides Home in Paris. Luc comes to the ceremony on May 8th from time to time, remembers friends and lays flowers at the memorial. He says, "We fought not for glory, but for the future of our children." This is Otto, a U.S. veteran. He was born in 1926 and grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. In 1944, he went to the front in Europe. He served in the infantry, participated in the Ardennes offensive, survived frosty nights in the trenches, and saw friends die. In one battle, he received a shrapnel wound and a medal for bravery. Otto is 99 years old today. On the wall of his house is a report with the commander's signature, and under it is an old photograph in uniform. He has a small veteran's pension and allowances, free medical care through the veteran system, as well as a local volunteer network that helps bring groceries and schedule a doctor's appointment. Otto lives alone. His son comes on weekends, and on weekdays he meets with several other veterans at a local club. They exchange newspapers and reminisce. He has enough money not for luxury, but for a stable life. Medicines, heating, communal services. The main thing is respect and attention. The park hosts an annual celebration in honor of veterans, and Otto goes there with a bouquet and smiles quietly. But even in the United States, where the state aid structure is developed, many veterans feel loneliness and pain, the last witnesses of the great storm of history. All of them have one thing in common. They are getting older and need medicine, care, and attention. The reality is different. Some places have developed social support, while others have only ceremonies and everyday poverty. The most frightening thing is that with the passing of these people, the living evidence of the war will disappear. Their stories are our stories. Visit a veteran and record their memories. Memory is something we can give away for free. If you have your own information about the lives of veterans, if you know similar stories, or even personally know people who went through World War II, be sure to share it in the comments. Every such story is important. Perhaps it is your comment that will preserve the memory of a person about whom there is no one else to tell.